Yeah, welcome back to the Harry Thomas Show Week in Review. Today is Saturday, January 12th, 2008. I'm your host, Harry Thomas. The website is harrythomas.info. You can find all the stories and media that I talk about on today's show there. Now, today I'm going to be talking about, later on in the show, vote fraud, global government, Big Brother. I'm going to talk about the presidential candidates for 2008. It'll be coming up in the third segment. What I've got here, though, is Ron Paul is the Jefferson of our time. This came out of LouRockwell.com. American politicians from Lincoln to FDR and even Bill Clinton have tried to claim the political mantle of Thomas Jefferson. You know, they do. They say, I'm a Jeffersonian, blah, blah, blah. You know, they visit the monument and stuff as symbolism. And then they go totally the opposite of what Jefferson would stand for. Many Americans who believe in the Jeffersonian philosophy that government is best, which governs least, they go against that. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. Now, Ron Paul is walking the walk. In reality, Grover Cleveland was the last American president who actually believed in Jeffersonian principles in government. And when Ron Paul proposes abolishing the Federal Reserve Board and returning to the gold standard, he has taken Jefferson's position in his great debate with Hamilton over propriety of a government-run bank. Now, Hamilton was totally for world government, for centralized control of the banks. You know what I mean? For a control system grid run by the banks. He was against that. Now, Ron Paul wants to be the third president in history to take back control, centralized control from the central banks. Now, Ron Paul's call for the abolition of income taxation is a genuine Jeffersonian sentiment. So, Ron Paul truly is founding father material. When Ron Paul sounds the alarm about the Patriot Act and habeas corpus, and how sees people like Newt Gingrich trying to rethink the First Amendment, this stuff is very serious. He's talking about our freedoms and our liberties being dismantled. Ron Paul is the only national politician who is devoted to reversing all these dangerous trends. All other candidates propose either minor tinkering at the margins or an expansion of the same failed policies. He is the Jefferson of our time, and our true hope of returning to the guiding principles of the Founding Fathers. We could take this road, or we can continue along on the road to serfdom. And it is true. Ron Paul is the only one that's going to stand up for our rights and stand up for our freedoms. You know, and he's constantly being attacked. And one of them is this pollster, Frank Lutz. And this guy is a total tool. And we're talking about, he works for Fox, and he uses, he gets these polls of these people, and, you know, this is supposed to be the voice of America. He's been caught using the same people months later. You know, so he's got a select crowd that he pays off. He is a total criminal, and he's exposed. I've got this posted up at the website, and I've got Ron Paul explaining welfarism to the neocons in the debate that happened this last week at Fox. This is what he had to say.
Congressman Paul, is denying a path to citizenship for people now in the country illegally important enough that Republicans are willing to concede the Hispanic vote to Democrats in November?
Well, I don't know that, but I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I do think we should enforce the law. And the law says that illegals shouldn't be here and that we shouldn't have amnesty. But I think this whole thing should be thought of more in economic terms. Maybe I think about economics too much, but there is something said in economics that if you subsidize something, you get more of it. And this is what we do. We encourage it by giving free medical care and free education and the promise of amnesty. And no wonder more will come. We have a weakened economy, and now immigrants, especially the illegals, are seen as a threat because they come and they undermine our tax system, and some of our hospitals are being closed, and some of our people won't work because of the welfare state. You can't solve this problem if you don't deal with the terms of welfareism. And besides, you know, some of our border guards are over in Iraq. I think they'd be better off on our borders, you know, protecting our borders, not in Iraq. So, yes, I think we have to deal with it. If we don't do it with carefully, yeah, we're going to lose some votes on it. But quite frankly, the law is the law, and we should enforce the law.
You know, and it's about time somebody stands up to these criminals. Ron Paul, you know, they allowed people to laugh at Ron Paul during the debate and stuff. It was a disgrace, okay? Fox News is corporatism gone mad, okay? Rupert Murdoch's empire should have no credibility whatsoever. Let me tell you that much. Ron Paul addressed the 9/11 truth question during the GOP debate. I think it says a lot that Ron Paul didn't slander us or belittle our beliefs, and instead briefly saying in a nutshell that he simply doesn't agree with our point of view. And after all this is to what eventually became an enthusiastic clapping audience in favor of moving on to the actual debate topic at hand. And the crowd continues to clap for Ron Paul all the time at every one of these debates. Although he has also said this about 9/11.
Yeah, I support more investigation. Yeah, I support more investigation. Yeah, I support more investigation because I think the ineptness was probably hidden because there was a tremendous amount of ineptness. And that's generally what government investigations do, is they hide the inefficiencies and ineptness of government officials.
You're talking about 9/11. You seem to be on another plane here. You're saying
Ron Paul spoke about personal liberties and argues for medical marijuana during the Iowa rally on December 27, 2007. He's gotten a lot of support from people on this medical marijuana issue. This is what he had to say about it.
But the most egregious attack on personal choices are in states that have legalized medicinal marijuana for people who are dying with cancer or AIDS, and they find they benefit by it. Now, I won't even argue the case pro and con on medicine. I happen to think it's probably beneficial but I don't have personal experience. It's probably beneficial to some. But the issue isn't that as much as who gets to make the choice? The individual who's dying and wants a little bit of relief, or some do-gooder in Washington and said, I'm going to arrest you regardless.
And he stands tall for our Constitution. His voting record is sound. He has never voted to raise taxes. He always votes in line with the Constitution. He is founding father material. He is definitely a Thomas Jefferson of our time. And on Martin Luther King Day, January 21st, Trevor Lyman has set up another mass donation day for the grassroots, and it's freeatlast2008.com. Over 6,000 people have pledged to donate at least $100 to this campaign on this day. I again am publicly announcing that I will give my support of $100 this day to that Ron Paul 2008 campaign. This is making a difference. This is keeping Ron Paul competitive and letting him get his message out, even though there's been massive reports of voter fraud. And I will be back in the second segment to expose a whole bunch more of that. So get involved with your local meetup group of Ron Paul today, and let's get Ron Paul into the White House.
He'll bring our troops home now and secure our borders somehow. In the IRS and help us out of this mess.